As a paleontologist, I like to look at how our genetic ancestors affect us today. Most people don't see how a human and a fish could be related, but because of years of research, we are now able to understand the processes of evolution. My name is Sheil Nubin, and today I'm going to show you some of the evidence we use to make this connection. First, we're going to pay Krabs Labs a visit for one of their physical specimens. Take a look at this Mosasaurus fossil. The Mosasaurus was a giant sea reptile that could reach up to 56 feet long. It was carnivorous and dominated the ocean, eating fish, sharks, and even other mosasaurs. It lived over 65 million years ago during the Cretaceous period. Today, we have Professor Boyardee, the Executive Director of Directing at Krabs Labs, to explain this amazing specimen from the fossil record.
So, like you said, this fossil is from a mosasaur that lived 75 to 65 million years ago. Now, you as a paleontologist might recognize this as a vertebrae, or one of the bones from the spine. Now, we also have some other bones to compare this to. Here, I have a vertebrae from a small fish. Now, this is not a fossil, just a normal bone that I found on the beach in Hawaii. However, it is especially significant because we can use this as a benchmark to compare to the ancient mosasaur vertebrae. Now, you can see how the main structure is very similar, with them both having that almost cylindrical hourglass shape. However, you can also see the stark difference in the spines on either side of the fish vertebrae, whereas obviously the mosasaur does not have that. Now, these spines in fish create an evolutionary advantage, as they make it harder for predators to eat it, as well as hold the muscles in place necessary for swimming.
Ah, I see. These two specimens are examples of homologous structures, meaning the organisms they came from both evolved from a common ancestor millions of years ago. In fact, it was about 518 million years ago that the first vertebrate, Millicomingia, evolved. Through the processes of genetic mutation and natural selection, we ended up with the genetic diversity we see today. Over time, fish developed the spines on their vertebrae as a defense mechanism to improve survivability, because the fish with the spines had a greater chance of survival and passing on their genes. Put simply, all organisms started out evolving from a genetic relative from the past, which is why we share similar structures today. Take you and your parents as an example. You tend to look more like your parents than other people because they passed their DNA, or the coding that determines who they are and what they look like, onto you. But you look slightly different from them because your DNA is slightly different from theirs. This is how organisms develop and change to become different species.
This takes us to our third specimen, the human vertebrae. Krabs Labs doesn't have a real one for legal reasons, but this medical model is very accurate. Just like the fish vertebrae, you can see how there is that same cylindrical, almost hourglass shape to the main structure. But also like the fish vertebrae, there is this extra section that is there for support and the spinal cord. You can see the opening right here where that runs through. But there are also structures in humans that haven't fully gone away from our distant relatives. These are called vestigial structures. For example, there's still a bone at the base of our spine where our tails used to be, the tailbone. That's why it can hurt badly when you fall on your bum wrong.
So what we see here is a direct line of progression from the ancient to the recent to the modern, each one related to the others at some point in their ancestry. Leaving Krabs Labs, I felt like I had a better understanding of how our species developed. I think it's important to see some of the evidence from experts in order to fully comprehend evolution.
Oh hi, I like fossils.
I like fossils too.
Here, come this way.
Actually,